as someone who came from the private sector, I'm used to, you see a problem, you solve a problem with how quickly AI is becoming more commonplace and transforming every industry. It's also going to need to transform how we run government. Hi, my name is Glubish. I'm the Minister of Technology and Innovation for the Government of Alberta, and I'm also the MLA for Strathcona-Sherwood Park. So the cabinet ministers are what make up the executive branch of government. So when there's an election, the party that forms, the party that wins the most seats, their leader becomes the premier. And then the premier selects who will then sit in their cabinet. And those cabinet ministers then are in charge of running one of the many government departments. So for me, that's the Department of Technology and Innovation. So as a minister, I do a few things. One, I'm responsible for all of our policy and all of our day-to-day operations in the Department of Tech and Innovation. But then I also am responsible for reviewing all of the proposals and initiatives of my colleagues in the other departments. And then we all come together in our cabinet meetings to discuss government policy and initiatives. So in a nutshell, that's what a cabinet minister's role is. So to become a minister, you first typically would need to become elected as a member of the legislature, and you would need to belong to the party that forms government, the party with the most seats. If you do, then the decision falls on the leader of your party and the premier, who then makes the decision of who they would like to serve on their cabinet. So first become elected, second be in the governing party, and then I guess it can't hurt to have built a relationship with the leader of your party and the premier, and for them to know what are some of your unique skills. So for me, I have a background in tech, and it made a lot of sense for Premier Smith to choose me as her Minister of Tech and Innovation. I think one thing that surprised me was how challenging it is to get things done in government. The government of Alberta is a big organization. The government's responsible for the healthcare system, the education system, the justice system, and so many other important functions in Alberta. And the fact is, change takes time when it's in government. So as someone who came from the private sector, I'm used to, you see a problem, you solve a problem, you move fast, you move at the pace of business. And we're trying to bring a lot of that into government to move faster, to be more responsive, to move at the speed of business. But it still does take longer than it would in the private sector, and I think that was a bit of an eye-opener for me. So as a minister, of course, I kind of mentioned some of the roles you play, running the executive branch of government, running a government department, essentially being the face of the government of Alberta to the public. And as an MLA, that focus is a little bit more on the local level. So, I was elected to represent the constituents of Strathcona-Sherwood Park. So my job there is to be accessible and available to them to share their questions or their concerns or their priorities with, to be a voice for them to bring those concerns and those priorities forward to the government and to the governing caucus. Part of my role as a local MLA is also to work with local business leaders or not-for-profits to help navigate their priorities and to try and help them to be as successful as possible. And then there's also the role as an MLA that you have as a legislator, which is the work we have debating legislation here at the legislature. So those are, I think, some of the differences between being an MLA on the local level and as a legislator compared to, say, running a government department and running the government. I think my favorite part about being a minister is being able to use my skills as someone who came from the private sector as a technology investor, and now being able to translate that to using more technology in government to deliver better, faster, smarter services for Albertans, helping to accelerate the rate at which we adopt new technologies, especially now more than ever with how quickly AI is becoming more commonplace and transforming every industry. It's also going to need to transform how we run government. And so being able to lead the technological initiatives inside of the government of Alberta has been a really fulfilling experience. I don't want to switch ministries. I'm happy. Again, my background's in tech. I spent 15 years investing in and building Alberta tech companies, and now to be able to lead the government's initiatives on implementing tech in government and to create the conditions to make Alberta the most innovative jurisdiction in the country, there's no place I'd rather be. I would think of that maybe a little differently. I think for me, my priority is to just accelerate the rate at which we're adopting technology in government. And that doesn't require legislation to do. It doesn't require adding a new bill or taking away an old bill. It just means being smarter about how we use technology and elevating the skill levels that we have among the folks who work in my department and even the folks who work in other departments too. I want to make sure that everyone in government knows how to use AI in their day-to-day job to augment what they do and to become more productive. And so for me, that's a driving force behind what I'm trying to do and trying to build a team that can help the government become the most innovative jurisdiction in Canada. I would come back to just one of the things I'm most excited about is the way that we're using AI to improve the way we run the government. And I'll give you an example, because sometimes it's good not to just talk in the abstract. So we're responsible for developing technologies and technology systems for every department in government. And our partners at the Department of Infrastructure needed a new system to help them manage the tens of thousands of real estate properties that they manage and control. They're doing it on Excel spreadsheets today. So they went to do an RFP, and one of the big 5 consulting firms brought forward a proposal that was going to be $57 million over 3 years. And they were going to have to wait 3 years to see any evidence of positive improvement. They didn't have the $57 million, so what are you going to do? Well, what we were able to do is to use AI to help scope out the project internally and to develop a roadmap on how we could use our existing team augmented with some AI tools to build this for them in-house. And we can get started right away. We can deliver modular improvements every month. So 30 days from now, they're going to have an improvement in their productivity. 30 days after that, they'll have another improvement in their productivity. They don't have to wait 3 years. And we're going to be able to do that for $5 million. So we're going to save the taxpayer $52 million. We can get started right away, and we're going to completely transform how the Department of Infrastructure manages their day-to-day operations. And we're going to be able to do this in dozens and dozens of use cases across government. So it's a really exciting opportunity for us to use AI and to use technology to get better results for Albertans and Alberta taxpayers. And I can't wait to see what we're going to be able to accomplish over the next 12 months.